Good evening, everyone. Maxime Bernier announced today that candidate selection process has started, and there's an online form that you can fill out. Very interesting. Here is Maxime Bernier and some high-ranking People's Party officials. And sorry, my mouse stopped working. There we go. Now it's working. Here we go.
May 6th. We raised more than $1,300,000 since the creation of the party, and today we launched the process for the selection of candidates. We will be ready. Yes, we will be ready with 338 candidates for the general election. On va être prêt avec trois.
So that's good news if you've been following the People's Party. I have. And I mean, it's no small feat to do what Mr. Bernier has done, to raise that much money and to establish an EDA across the country. And yeah, it's a short period of time. It's unlikely that he's been able to achieve it, but he has been able to achieve it. So neat. I'll cue up the next clip. Hold on. Here she is explaining how the online selection process works.
Today, we launch our candidate selection process. As of 7 a.m. this morning, we have launched an online application process for candidates who want to be part of this party. This will be open until 7 p.m. Tuesday, April 23rd. Nous effectuons.
So that's a pretty tight turnaround, really, when you think about it. And it has to be. It's an election year, and you have to strike while the iron's hot. And I mean, the iron is hot, clearly, right? People are paying attention to politics, and Mr. Bernier is making a difference anyway, in my opinion. So I'll cue up the next clip. Hold on. Here is an interesting question. This is the question part of the press conference. And here's an interesting question regarding the New Zealand attack and why won't Mr. Bernier denounce the New Zealand murderer?
Mr. Bernier, how come you will point out on Twitter when there's an Islamic attack or Islamic extremists commit some attack and kills groups of people, but you won't condemn this man who killed a bunch of Muslims in New Zealand?
I said what I had to say on Twitter, and I think I was very clear about that. That's a new policy. You know, I'm not playing politics with these horrible tragedy that happened. And, you know, Justin Trudeau has been shameless exploiting the New Zealand massacre tragedy that happened to score political points. After a week, he's still speaking about that in his rally and try to score political points. We don't do that. You know, I'm a politician that is working in Canada, and that's our position. And I was very clear about that. I don't have the intention to play politics with these horrible tragedy.
But what do you?
So, and I'm going to leave it there. But I think that it's interesting use of the term, we don't do that. And I like that. We as the People's Party, we as Canadians, we shouldn't be politicizing these horrible tragedies to help even a downtrodden group of people, right? There's no use of a tragedy that is going to be positive. Like, oh, let's, think of New Zealand. No, that's just the wrong way to handle tragedy, especially that type of tragedy. I'll cue up the next clip. Hold on. Okay, this is a question talking about the platform, and if you're a candidate, you might want to know about the platform. So here we go.
I just ask just more of the candidate development process. If I might be thinking of being a candidate in any party, I might want to look at a party platform or understand how the platform will be developed. Yeah. Could you speak a bit about what the platform that you'll present to Canadians? How will you go about developing, and how will candidates know what will or won't be in that platform?
Yeah, I think we're the only political party at the federal scene that we have a full platform. You go on the website, peoplespartyofcanada.ca, and you'll see our platform. What I'm saying to candidates, if you share our principles, individual freedom, personal responsibility.
And yes, we're going to get to the candidate stuff. Sure, that's what the press conference is about. That's why Bernier keeps coming back to that. But I wanted to talk about the platforms for a minute. So I spent a little bit of time looking on the Conservatives' website for their platform. And it's here, policy declaration. I think that's it. That's essentially it. If you go to the main website, there are some platform initiatives that Mr. Scheer has been talking about. And I can't find them at the moment. Hold on. The last time I was on the site, there was the gang initiative, and I think it was tax-free home heating. There's 3 of them. Anyway, maybe I'm just misremembering. Either way, here's one of the initiatives, and the rest is talking about covering up and Trudeau must testify, etc. But the platform I found difficult to find, and maybe I'm just an idiot. Maybe I'm, not up on these newfangled internet things. But I was looking for the platform, and I thought, okay, team, okay, it's not under there. Media, it's not under there. Learn more, our party, sure. Governing documents, that's where I went. And ultimately, policy declaration, but it's still not like a really fleshed out policy. I mean, it's a fleshed out policy document. If you scroll down to, 142, I think, is their immigration policy, or one of them. 137 starts their immigration and their marijuana stuff. They talk about stuff here, but it's not really policy or platform in the same way that the PPC's election platform is a platform. Like it's governing ideology, like what they believe as conservatives, and Bernier's is more of a concrete, this is the direction I want to take Canada platform document. So, and again, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Maybe I don't get it. So I'm fully willing to be the person wrong here. However, just from a lay person trying to find information about the party and the difference between the two and what the Conservatives believe versus what Bernier believes. And again, maybe it's me, but I found it easier to navigate the People's Party website. So that's just me. Okay, we're going to go back here, and I'm going to queue up the next clip and the whole reason for this video, in my opinion. Okay, I was watching this whole interview, this whole press conference, and this, starting at 25 minutes, is when Mr. Bernier responds, but this is when the question starts being asked, so we'll listen to the whole thing. The back and forth between Mr. Bernier and the question asker, and Mr. Bernier's passion. There's more meat in this 5 minutes of interaction than Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Scheer put together for the last 3.5 years, in my opinion. So this is why I'm a People's Party supporter. And we'll watch this until it stops making sense for me to show it. I have one more thing to show you before we go that's unrelated to Mr. Bernier and is just talking about Alberta, because we've got a provincial election coming up and I don't want to be remiss. I need to mention it. But here's Mr. Bernier answering the "Aren't you splitting the vote?" question.
May I ask one more question? Recent polls after the SNC-Lavalin affair show that the Liberals are having some significant trouble, at least right now, and that the Conservatives are gaining traction given what's come out in the news recently. What do you, since you are a former Conservative and a lot of your supporters so far perhaps may have come from that party and be a part of the Conservative base, what do you have to say to your former colleagues who might be concerned that you might end up splitting the vote in some very close ridings and end up giving the Liberals more support? What do you say to that?
So I don't agree with you, the premise of your question, saying that most of my support will come from Conservative. That's not the case. Actually, around 35% of our supporters are people who didn't vote at the last election. They are coming with us because they don't believe in politicians anymore, and they want a real change in this country based on principle. So that's new people that didn't vote. We have also the president of our riding association in Newfoundland voted for the NDP for the last 10 years. And I told him, "What are you doing in my party? Did you read my platform?" And he said, "Yes, Maxime, I'm with you because you want to end corporate welfare, and that's very important for me. And at the same time, you want to end the cartel for milk, dairy, and poultry. And Canadian consumers, Canadian families will save $800 a year. So that's important. That's hurting the poor in this country." So because of these two policies, that person is with me and will fight and is part of our riding association. We have also people who voted for Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin, Liberals, that wanted a balanced budget and lower taxes. Now they don't recognize themselves in the Liberals Party in the Socialist Liberal Party of Canada. So we are attracting not only Conservative, people who voted conservative, but people from different political backgrounds, and that's great. So we are creating a new culture in our party right now and in Canada. So that's why, you know, the best score that we had, that was not in a conservative party. The best score that we had at the last election was in Burnaby South. It's an NDP riding. And we had 10% of the votes over there. And in a conservative riding in York Simcoe, we had only 2% of the votes. So, you know, I don't agree with you that our votes will come mostly from the conservative. And so we'll do our best to have great candidates. We have great ideas, and we'll see what will happen.
So would you say
The Socialist Liberal Party of Canada. And as I said, the whole exchange right up to 30 minutes, right up to the end, is really worthwhile. But it would be a shame for me to just play it out, because you should just go watch from 27 minutes on until Maxime walks off the stage, because it's there's so much passion there. That's who I want in charge. I want somebody who loves this country like Donald Trump loves the United States. Right? And maybe that's a bad analogy, but I don't think it is. Being somebody who loves their country and wants it to continue to be a great country, that takes work. And that is the kind of person who loves their country that way and is willing to do the work. That's who I want. And it seems like Maxime Bernier is that person, right? Doing it because he's passionate, not because of the positioning and the corporate kickbacks. He's looking to end that kind of stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that I want to see ended as well. So here's the Alberta poll tracker. And remember, Alberta, you're going to the polls on April 16th. Don't let those newspapers tell you the NDP could get a majority. It's probably not going to happen. Ontario tried that, being the newspapers telling Ontario that the NDP might get a majority. And yeah, nobody believed them, and Doug Ford got a strong majority. Despite the polls saying that he's not well liked. I don't believe that. I think if an election were held today, he would get an easy majority again. So, and I would email him a couple more times to say gender theory does not belong in classrooms. Goodness. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Check out the peoplespartyofcanada.ca. And if you want to be a candidate, please click on the link. I will add it in the description right now. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for watching.